Top of the morning folks, today from the Reddit Rainforest. What was the moment that you realized that someone was obsessed with you in an unhealthy way? What tipped you off? Let me preface this with, I have never been a big social media user. It's too personal, too intrusive. I was bartending at a local hole in the wall and I had a regular that was nice and flirty. Typical bartender slash customer stuff. One day he says to me, "You were at JOHNS*, how's Sunday morning? You guys a thing?" I asked him how he knew I was there and he said he saw my car. I was a little taken aback, but I was parked on the main road and my car was fairly distinctive, so I did not think much of it. A couple weeks later Head made a joke that I was never home, 'cause my car was always gone when he passed by. That made the hair on my neck stand up. But again, I do not exactly live off of the beaten path. So okay, when I realized that it was more than casual observations was when he started complimenting me on different outfits and hairstyles I wore on my days off or prior to my shift. He'd also make comments about receiving packages or coming home with after shopping. You should find someone who would carry those groceries into the house for you. I'd never make you carry the bags in the house after all. That shopping you did on Saturday. It was really creepy and I could not shake the feeling of being watched for a long time. I called one of my coworkers out for being a little too handsy/creepy at work when I had expressed my lack of interest repeatedly. As an apology he got me a gift card to Victoria's Secret. Oh my god, you just brought back a memory I had deeply buried. I was friends with someone in community college. We were in not like super close, but we were like group friends, meaning a bunch of us would hang out sometimes, and he was always there. I did not have any classes or anything with him. One day he told us to meet at the mall around the holidays because he had a present for me. He said it was a birthday/Christmas gift and singled me out because my birthday had just passed. I was kind of weirded out in the first place because we never agreed to give each other presents, but we all met at the mall anyway. He hands me the present and tells me to open it in front of everyone. I do. It's a lacy red thong. I'm standing there in the middle of a crowded mall. It's around the holidays, holding this thong. Absolutely mortified. He tries to look debonair and says to me, "Your gift to me would be wearing it." I laughed it off but never hung out with him again. He kept pursuing me over the years and showing up at my job, which was at the mall where we all met. He would come in wearing these suits and kept telling me about his big opportunity and how if I joined him for a quick meeting he could set me up for life. I was having none of it and literally looked around my malarkey retail job and said, "Nah, I'm good." He said he moved to New York, but I think he went to jail. My husband was deployed in Afghanistan, so I had to go to church alone. One week, an older man, maybe 65, approached and said, "Can I sit here?" I said sure. We had a bit of conversation and he said, "My wife died a few weeks ago and I was just praying this morning for God to send an angel I could sit with at church today." He seemed like a sweetheart. I felt bad for him. He sat next to me for a few weeks in a row. It did not bother me too much. I brought him some homemade jam. He told me about how his son was also deployed. I mentioned he should really try getting into a church small group, that it would be great company for him. I set him up with one of the best. He said he was not sure how to get to the venue. If he gave me his number, could I tell him where the place was? He was confused. I said, sure. Well, once I texted him the directions. I do not think he ever went to the group, but he had my phone number. He started calling 8+ times a day, saying hello beautiful and begging me to meet him at Waffle House. For the remainder of my husband's 6-month deployment, I did not go to church. I was really worried about running into that guy. I blocked his number and luckily have never seen him again. Months after my husband got back, I told him what happened, and of course he was livid. When she started sending nudes to my work email because I asked her to stop contacting me, I changed my Snapchat account and blocked her number. But my work email is on my company's website, so she found it. That was an awkward conversation with my guys. When my dad showed up to my place of work, we had been estranged, but he knew I worked at Starbucks and had traveled from location to location to figure out where I had transferred to and when my shifts were scheduled. Even had the balls to call the store and pretend to be me to get my schedule information. I saw his vehicle parked out front and freaked out and ran inside. He followed in after about 30 minutes, right as the morning rush was hitting full swing, and started berating me in front of all my coworkers and customers. That's the day I went and learned about restraining orders. Had a situation similar to this when I employed about a dozen young people years ago. One of the girls came in saying that her ex-boyfriend was stalking her and that she'd just seen his car in the lot. We tucked her in a back room with snacks. Found a photo of the guy for the manager on duty and had the cops escort the ex off of the premises. She took the day off to be with her parents and we established a safety plan in case he showed up again. TBH, I did not want anything to do with the drama, but ensuring that my employees have a safe place to work is my #1 job. I say this only so that if anyone reading this finds themselves in a similar situation, they know that there are employers who will have your back. I stopped taking my birth control when you came to visit. This guy at college would follow me everywhere. One day, I just went out to buy my lunch and he came with me. He did not buy anything, just followed me. Even when I told him he was making me uncomfortable, he still would not leave me alone. I did not want to sound rude though. Eventually, I started trying to get on the bus with me when I would head home. That was the last straw for me. The next time he tried to follow me onto the bus and actually managed to step on, I pushed him off and urgently told the driver to close the doors. The driver instantly took the hint and shut them. I told him the guy was stalking me, showed my student ID which allowed me on the bus for free, and took a seat. The next day, the guy had the audacity to ask me why I did not let him to home with me. I told him to stop following me around from then on. When I was stationed in Korea and my ex-girlfriend kept emailing my wife from different emails pretending to be women in Korea that I was cheating on her with my wife, and I had a pretty good laugh about it, and she eventually came clean. Her husband was not happy about her still obsessing over me. Edit. Almost forgot to add that my wife was never worried about the emails. In her words, "You're too socially awkward to get another woman to sleep with you." I have an ex who, about a year ago, showed up to a mutual friend's birthday/engagement party absolutely hammered, called my fiancée gross, tried to spill a drink on her, tried to grab my dick, slapped me when I rejected her, and said I groped her when the bartender and bouncer asked her to leave. She was physically removed from the function. This was a decade after we broke up. I had several stiff shots and then a good laugh about that. I broke up with a physically abusive boyfriend, and at the time I worked about a 25-minute drive from where I lived. Always drove the same road home. My schedule never changed, and I began seeing his car and occasionally his friends' cars along my drive. Always parked off from the road a little and around some seriously sharp corners. At first I did not think anything of it, until it began happening at night. I'd do inventory every Tuesday night and be at work until 10 PM. This was my only full night shift. This went on for about a month, until I started switching my routes to and from work because I was getting creeped out. Easter ended up rolling around and I, again, had to stay late to help my coworker change the signage. I worked at Subway. It was getting close to 9 PM, and the work phone began ringing off the hook. Was my ex. My coworker, who knew what was going on, just muted the phone and we continued doing what we needed to do. Shortly after we saw my ex standing outside, in the middle of the road staring into the restaurant. I hid behind the counter as soon as I could, and my coworker ended up telling me when he left. Got calmed down until we got to my car to find out he broke into my car and left a bunch of weed and a threatening note. I bought a new car the next week, fully equipped with a very loud alarm. As a bus driver, you're expected to be cheerful and chat with whoever while idle. A regular passenger started riding around, always in the front seat. Over a week or two the conversation got quite personal, always by her initiative. I told my supervisor about this just to cover my ass. Then she started to bring me gifts, cookies, candy, beverages. Finally, she invited me over for a meal so her mom could meet her boyfriend. I had zero interest in the young woman, did not want anything to do with her. Luckily, she moved or just avoided the bus during my shift. When he started acting like he could not survive without me directly by his side at all times. I had met him a week earlier, only spoke to him briefly, and never flirted or had any romantic or sexual interactions with him. He literally just stalked me and physically put himself at my side like a Siamese twin, going as far as pushing other people away from his spot and threatening to kill himself when I brought it up with him. Yeah, nah thanks. I had two instances when I was younger. One was the first boyfriend I ever had, 8th grade summer going into my first year of high school. We broke up after homecoming because of some very stupid young person drama, and he went absolutely psycho after that. Constant texts and phone calls, getting his friends to talk to me/harass me, etc. You know, the typical stuff. Culminated in him carving my name into his arm. He died of a heroin overdose in like 2016, I want to say. The second time was more of a slow burn. This was back in the day when AIM/MSN was the malarkey. This guy I kind of knew from high school added me on AIM. He was a senior. Actually a super senior, which makes it worse. When I was a freshman. And he had been dating a fellow freshman classmate of mine for a while. We had similar music tastes and talked about the band Brand New a lot. We talked for a long time actually. Just platonically. Or so I thought. Instant messaging was kind of the thing back in the day, and I talked to a lot of people. I did not have any cause for concern with him. He was someone that used to go to my high school, and we liked the same band. When the album The Devil and God Are Aging Inside Me by Brand New came out, they went on tour and finally came to Seattle, and he was like, dude, let's go. It'll get you a ticket. I was like, you do not have to pay for me. I will pay for my own, but he insisted. So I was like, whatever. I buy my friends stuff all the time. That's fine. Keep in mind that he and that girl were long past broken up. And also keep in mind that he was about 21 over 22 at this point, and I had just turned 16. So he also insists on driving. I was like, score. I'm saving on gas lol. The whole time he is kind of touching me a lot and acting really excited and whatever, and I'm just getting a vibe. Sorry if that's vague, but it was a vague vibe lol. The concert was fine. Kind of uneventful and kind of a letdown. Because the band really acted like that was the last place on earth they wanted to be, and he just would not stop trying to hold my hand, grab my hips, etc. Just way too handsy. And then I realized I had to drive home with him from Ducking, Seattle, like 30ish plus minutes away. The car ride home he was talking a lot and really excited and whatever, and it all kind of came out how he felt about me. Once again, has like in his early 20s and I'm barely 16. And I'm trapped in the car. When he drops me off he makes a move and I reject it and tell him thank you for everything, but I do not feel that way. He got pissed. He blew me up on AIM. Typical Nasegu ITM malarkey about how he bought my ticket and drove to Seattle. And all the years. Like 2. Lol. We'd been talking and me supposedly leading him on all this time. And apparently him and his ex actually used to fight about me because I guess he was obsessed with me even back then. It was super creepy. I was sad because I felt like I did something wrong, and because I felt like I lost what I thought was a friend. I have no idea where he is or what he's doing now. I'm about to turn 30, so all this was a long time ago now. And I have had other creepy experiences in my life, but I think those early ones really form a big impression. My sister brought home my spiral notebook from school. She thought it was mine because it had my name written and doodled covering every page. Turns out it was a girl who was obsessed with me. Broke up with boyfriend of 3 months. That week, I received thousands of texts from him ranging from I love you, we can make this work, to you ducking runt. Do not know why it took 3 months to see the crazy, but I'm glad I eventually put it together. I was chatting with a gal online through a dating site. She was nice enough and we were having good conversations, but had not yet even began speaking on the phone. It turns out a friend of hers was friends with one of my friends. Small world. I'm at home one day puttering around and I hear a knock at my door. I look out the window and see a car I do not recognize. My hint meter starts pinging, so I pull a butcher knife, brace my foot so the door can only open a bit, and crack the door. She is standing there and tells me she got the address from my friend and asking to come in. I was weirded out and declined. She got upset and started crying and telling me how this was supposed to be a pleasant surprise. I tried to send her on her way gently and she got pissed and stormed off and drove away. I thought that was it. Then she starts emailing me saying she loves me, then starts calling me. My idiot friend gave her my number and leaving gifts at my door that would be there in the morning. Point I lived in Mesa, as she was in Tucson about an hour away. I eventually had to threaten her with a restraining order. My friend had talked to hers about what was going on. She said, oh yeah, she's nuts. She's done this before. I felt a lot better when I left the state. Not me, but my sister is obsessed with her ex. She cheated on him and is desperate to get him back. She constantly tries to get in touch with him, like getting my little brother to FaceTime him through his iPad cause she knows he would not answer her. She says she thinks about him every day and will text him on holidays like Easter just to say, have a nice day, or whatever. They had a conversation and after that she looked up the program he was in at the college he goes to and found out that his program was cancelled because of COVID-19. So she does not understand why he has not gotten in contact with her. She wrote a letter a couple days ago and is planning to go to his house and leave it at his door. Originally, her plan was to pay me to go ring the doorbell and give it to him, but like hell now lol. Whenever I tell her to back off she just says I do not understand cause I have never been in a relationship / it's been months of crap like this. Had a girl in my church choir that kept volunteering to turn pages for me at the organ console. She'd move back and forth behind the organ bench grabbing pages on both left and right and rubbing my backside with her breasts as she moved. Unfortunately that is all there is for this video, but do not worry, there are many more coming. Like and subscribe for more videos from the Reddit Rainforest. Thanks for watching.